Alright guys, if this is your first video, my name is 5050 Dad. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see I post a bunch of videos about marriage and relationship and parenting. And I found this video and it reminds me of another video I had shared earlier in the year, which same situation, the guy that's in the original story is featured in this video, but the video wasn't about him. It was actually about another dad who had some issues with mom after she gave birth. So basically, he was ready to raise his daughter, but mom had other plans. So let's watch this video.
I'm I-Team investigator Kylie McGivern. Unmarried fathers fighting for custody of their babies against private adoption agencies. Earlier this year, we brought you an exclusive interview with a father whose story is rarely told because the cases are not public. You may remember Ulysses Carwise, who is still fighting for his daughter more than 5 years later after she was signed over to an adoption agency as a newborn without his knowledge or consent. Carwise.
So the first guy in the video, I shared his story on my Instagram a few months back. And in his situation, the mother was on drugs and she had the baby and he wanted to raise the child. He's raised another daughter by himself. She's a grown woman, so he's a successful dad. You know, she's obviously brought up well and he would have done a great job with his new daughter, but the mom had other plans. And again, she was on drugs. So a lot of times it's not even like mom's like, oh, he's violent. No, they're just on drugs and they just signed rights over to the adoption agency. And because they're not married, then mom can do it without your consent.
His story inspired other Tampa Bay area fathers to come forward, saying they too are in an uphill battle to establish parental rights.
There's a real problem, and good fathers are losing rights and losing time.
Tonight, a father kept in the dark about his daughter's birth.
It's hard. Sometimes I come in here. Sometimes I can come in here and sometimes I can't. This is my daughter's room.
Brandon Marteliz's only child, a daughter he has never met.
I had books for her, a few toys, tons of clothes. I'm getting ready to give them away because I know they're not going to fit her anymore.
She turns 2 in January. Marteliz pictured here with his child's mother. The date, 2 days before her birth.
Hands on her, talking to my daughter through her stomach. You know, I was there. I was with her. I was robbed of that opportunity.
Pictures turned to panic, Marteliz says. The day before their child was born, he asked if she was going to the hospital the next day. I think so. He asked if she was going to come outside, when she's going. Nothing. Then
I was told that my daughter had passed away.
In a court filing, Marteliz says the mother of his child told him the child had died due to sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS.
I couldn't accept it. I needed to see, I'm going to hospitals and they're calling security on me because...
Now, how is this legal? Like, how can mom say, and you show proof, you know, that mom's lying about the child's situation? She literally said that the child was dead. That's what she told dad, just so he, you know, would give up on being a father. So this is why when a lot of women are saying that men don't want to be fathers, you guys are also forgetting that there's a lot of fathers that are trying to be fathers, but mom won't let them. This is a real life situation of that. It's not just somebody saying it. A lot of times, y'all might run into somebody that says that, but they're not putting in the effort. But this is somebody who went out his way to make sure his daughter had her own room and everything else that she might need, but mom just, for whatever reason, decided that she didn't want to be a parent. Because women, you guys can always give us the child instead of, you know, putting the baby up for adoption, but I guess there's the fear that you may have to pay child support. And so some women, they're just like, nope, I'm the mother, let me just give the baby to an adoption agency, which is crazy to me.
I'm in here looking for my daughter and I can't find her.
Then, nearly 3 weeks after their daughter was born, 2 texts. I have her. I got the baby. That news, the start of a new nightmare for Marteliz.
I found out from a CPS lady that there was still a baby that was born, a newborn that was alive. And I reached out to someone that worked for the adoption agency that she told me about. And I felt like, okay, well, I'm the father. I'm her dad. I can take a test. I can prove I'm her dad. My daughter's alive.
We tried calling the mother, but did not hear back. Marteliz fighting for custody while the child is with prospective adoptive parents through the agency Heart of Adoptions. According to court documents, the day after his baby was born, before he says he even knew it, the mother consented to adoption and named Marteliz as a man who may have interest in the minor child. Court documents show the adoption agency said a termination of parental rights was not required because they were not married, he was not listed on the birth certificate, was not on the putative father registry, a little-known state registry for fathers to claim paternity, and had not paid a fair and reasonable amount of living and medical expenses in connection with the pregnancy and birth.
See, that's the thing. Most of us soon to be fathers, right? So if you're going to be a father, you're not going to know that you need to sign up for that registry if you're not married. And so you just assume that mom's not going to snake you in this situation or screw you over because she screwed him over. She gave birth to the child and immediately gave the child over. He's not on the birth certificate. I mean, she mentions that he may be the father, but they really don't care because at the end of the day, because he's not on the birth certificate, they don't have to terminate his parental rights, and they could just go ahead and move forward with the adoption, which is crazy to me because there are other kids that could be adopted. There are kids where the mom might have passed and the mom was the only one in the picture, but for some reason, these agencies feel like they could just come into this situation where dad is in the picture and they somewhat know about him, but they're working around the law basically to steal his daughter from him because according to them, the law is pretty much said it's legal, but it's morally wrong, and I can't believe they actually went through with this.
They were trying to ask me if I would that she's going to a great home and all this, and I couldn't hear that. I cut off. Said no, she's not. Over my dead body, she's not.
Marteliz filed a petition to determine paternity and filled out the registry the same month his daughter was born. Contesting the adoption plan, Marteliz wrote, "I am willing to do whatever it takes to be given custody of my daughter and be in her life. I am willing to pay whatever form or support or cost it takes." Marteliz denied he was aware of the mother's adoption plan in May 2021, denied he provided no financial support during her pregnancy, and said he didn't maintain contact with the child because the mother and the adoption people prevented it. We contacted the attorney for the adoption agency, who told us Mr. Marteliz was afforded every right he was entitled to under the law, and that the court simply reached a decision that he disagrees with.
I understand that there's people that might not be able to have kids and they might need kids, but they can have the ones that people are not able to take care of. I can take care of my baby. I own a company.
A little piece of deadwood right here.
They should not be adopting a child like my clients.
David Hurwitz, Marteliz's attorney, says it is a fight with a law that favors adoption agencies.
It's very difficult to navigate it, and it's hard to fight against it, right? It needs reform.
In October, a judge decided because Marteliz did not provide any financial or medical support since the child's birth, his consent is not required to move forward with an adoption.
She should be right here. I'm the one who can love her. Nobody can do that like I can. I can't give up for her. There's a lot of fathers out there that are being robbed that are good dads, that are great dads. And something needs to be done about this.
We're told the window of time to appeal this case has closed. Marteliz maintains he will continue fighting for his daughter. With photojournalists Matt McGlashan and Randy Wright, I'm I-Team investigator Kylie McGivern taking action for you.
So how do you guys feel about this story? Because I am a father who was not married, so that means I had to establish my rights. My situation happened before HB 775. And so that law basically allowed for fathers to have less steps to establish. Well, their rights are established already. So you're skipping a step. See, he had to establish his rights, but even though he established his rights, they still used the law to steal his child away from him. So I feel like the agency and the parents that were looking to adopt and then eventually ended up with the child, I feel like they're in the wrong. And it's crazy because legally they're not wrong, but morally they're wrong. If you have to take a father to court to win custody, then you shouldn't be doing it. You should have just said, let's go find another child. But maybe they built a bond with that child and they felt like that was the reason why they wanted to keep the child, but it's morally wrong to me. And I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Would you fight a father who is not a danger to his child for custody because you built a bond with the baby? Or do you feel like the agency and the new parents are wrong and they should just give dad custody because he's more than likely going to get stuck with visitation? What do you guys think?